Well, hello there. How is everyone? I hope you're well on this terrific, terrific Tuesday. That's it, baby. It's Tuesday. You're looking absolutely amazing. And this is video one of two. That's it. One of two. So keep your eyes peeled later for number two of two. But like I say, you're looking absolutely amazing. We're going to get straight into the meat and potatoes as around the Idaho 4 case, we have a new name. A new name has come into the fold, I hear you say. It's Jensen. And I hear you already. Well, some of you probably know, especially if you've watched a lot of court TV, because this is someone who regularly goes on court TV as a guest. But who is Jensen and why is he getting involved in the Idaho 4 case, I hear you say? So, first of all, and we'll make our way through these questions that you definitely have. Who is he? So, Jensen is a private investigator. We've got a little bit of employment history here. Private investigator, criminologist, and profiler. I managed to get hold of his CV, his curriculum vitae. So he's Jensen Investigation, Salt Lake City, Utah, from December 2007 to present. He oversees daily operation, conducts investigations and pre-litigation and litigation clients, both constructive and reconstructive, including suspected fraud claims. Does a lot of things in that. He's been a field investigator for G4S Compliance and Investigations, formerly MGM Investigations. Walmsley and Jensen Investigations and Recovery. Czech City Collections. The law officers of not Andrew D. Myers, but D. Bruce Oliver. And so he spent a lot of years in this field of kind of law. And there's a bit of his education if you're interested in that. I'm not really. He's not really interested in that. He's done some books as well. Look, he's done some books. Unusual, isn't it? People who do books to be around the Idaho 4 case. Organizations. He's a founding member of Utah Cold Case Coalition from March 2018 to present. And if we carry on as well, there's some other bits and pieces down there. But he's also got military experience. United States Navy on the USS Juneau, LPD-10, combat veteran, Persian Gulf War, Desert Shield, Desert Storm. Thank you for your service, young man. Highest rank, E5 enlistment, November 1986 to July 1991. Accomplishments: distinguished 3 times Navy Achievement Medal recipient, enlisted surface warfare specialist, officer of the desk, import, managed $1.2 million ship Optar. So he's got quite an array of stuff there, quite an array. Some of you who have been around other cases, such as John Bennett Ramsey and the O.J. Simpson, may have heard his name previously. There's just been there's a paper that was originally confidential report that's now declassified as a private investigator, and because Jason Jensen appears regularly as a guest on court TV, he was asked to review and corroborate the accomplice theory concerning the Nicole Brown Simpson and Ronald Goldman double murder, which occurred on June 12, 1994. Not going to read through this, but just to give you a bit of an indication, look, it's not uncommon for him to be around high-profile crime, and he's got quite a history. But what is he doing with respect to the Idaho 4 case? What are you doing there? Are you just a tourist, or is there a purpose? Well, this is his purpose. Community is searching for knife in University of Idaho student murders. So there is actually an upcoming search going to start. It says Bryan Kohberger's trial for the murder of 4 University of Idaho students is set for summer, but the murder weapon is missing, prompting a community search led by investigator Jason Jensen. I wonder if Court TV have brought him on board. I wonder who'll get the scoop if it's found. Let me know down below what your bets are. Jensen plans to search a 35-mile area between Moscow, Idaho, and Pullman, Washington for the knife, suspecting it may have been discarded along Highway 95 and 195. Volunteers are needed for the search on June 21st and 22nd, with instructions to contact contact police if the knife is found. The trial for Bryan Koberger, the man accused of murder of 4 University of Idaho students, is expected to get underway this summer. We will literally find that out if there's going to be a continuance tomorrow. Join me tomorrow. If you're not subscribed to the channel, subscribe, smash like, hit the notification bell so you know when we're going live and stuff and uploading. But join me tomorrow as we listen to the first part of the hearing, because the first part is open to the public. Second part, not so much, as they're also going to be discussing a potential alternative suspect. So there we go. While both sides are finalising their lists of witnesses, making sure they've got their evidence and necessary documents in order, despite the fact that Ann Taylor has very much stated officially that she ain't ready. The actual murder weapon, now a community effort, hopes to change that. The murder weapon is obviously missing. I'm not used to having over 1 million views for any particular post on places like Facebook, said Jensen, a licensed private investigator with 30 years of experience. Over the years, he has worked on several high-profile cases like the John Bennett Ramsey case and O.J. Simpson's. He's not involved in Koberger's case, but has been following it closely. What we're saying... The thing that I find most intriguing about is the fact that the murder weapon is missing, Jensen said, which is why on June 21st and 22nd he scheduled a search to find the knife used in the murders of Katie Gonsalves, Madison Mogan, Ethan Chapman, and Xana Canodal, and he's looking for volunteers. The plan is to search for a 35-mile area. I think there's a good probability that the knife would be found on the route between Moscow, Idaho, and Pullman, Washington, along the routes of Highway 95 and then north up Highway 195, Jensen said. He adds, given Koberger's reported fascination with the serial killer Ted Bundy, Jensen believes if Koberger is behind these crimes, he would have thrown the knife out of his car. Well, as he's driving down the fucking road, get rid of that. Way, go for the sheath. Oh, fuck, that's gone. Motherfucker. I reckon he'd have turned the fuck round and gone straight back to the house. Who knows? I'm not a private investigator. I'm not a clever person. I'm just somebody who does videos on YouTube. But I find that a little bit strange. The connection between... was Ted Bundy one for just randomly throwing stuff out of his car windows? I don't know. Maybe that's something I missed in my readings on Ted Bundy. One of the things that Ted Bundy was notorious about, other than the crimes themselves, but he would panic, and as he was leaving the scene of where he left bodies behind, he would throw things out of the car on the way from where their bodies were at, Jensen said. Weapons, apparently. I don't know. Court documents from March this year revealed Koberger's Amazon history showed he purchased a K-bar knife about 8 months prior to the Idaho student murders, and yet we're not anywhere near to understanding whether they are the same, whether he no longer has them, anything about them. Just that a hiker who regularly frequented hiking places and would go hiking, he bought one of the most popular knives that are purchased across the United States for such purposes. But look, I get it that because he's being accused of this crime, it does make things appear somewhat more odd, as we know that people have trawled over the fact that he used gloves while putting stuff in the bin at his parents' house. Now, wearing gloves to deal with rubbish doesn't seem odd, but when you're someone who's accused of a mass murder, obviously it then looks somewhat strange. If we find it, the thing to do is freeze what we're doing. Back out of the scene, call court TV. Not court, I keep fucking getting that wrong. Call the police, have them come down and process it as a follow-up crime scene, because there may be other evidence present, not just the knives, Jensen said, especially since it's been laying out there for about 3 years. And you would have hoped that law enforcement, people who are trained in this area, would have, should have, could have, definitely should have trawled over that route that Bryan Koberger supposedly took in order to search for that knife. You would think so, wouldn't you? You wouldn't think that they would just, even if they just perhaps chuck it back down. Like if they found a coat or something that may have belonged to one of the victims, you wouldn't think they'd pick it up and look at it and then oink it back into the bush. But who knows? He told Fox 13 Seattle he has done a lot of weapon searches, but this will be the first time searching for a knife. He also added that 90% of the time, items like this are often found by accident. So maybe don't arrange a search. Just go for a random stroll. Just go for a random stroll. Don't tell anyone. Just go, then you might find it. But that's what's happening in the world of the Idaho 4 case. We have this guy and some volunteers of the public going to an area that they believe that Bryan Kohberger potentially drove in the aftermath of the murders in order to locate the knife. That law enforcement, you would hope that they did, but seemingly they didn't then, and they failed to do it. And then as soon as they find it, because they're likely to find it, I don't know how I'd feel if they did find it. It would definitely throw a bit of a side eye towards law enforcement again. But it will be interesting to see if it does. It would be a thing, wouldn't it? Timing would be spectacular. We found the knife. Who knows? We'll see. Let me know how you feel about it all, and I will catch you all in video 2 later on today, where we talk about Bryan Kohberger's friend. He's had a few things to say. Mwah.